Darkness devoured Belgrade, and with it, my heart. The wind wailed through the cursed woods where wolves refused to tread, and the trees bore black scars from a saint's forgotten curse. Leaves whispered under unseen footsteps in the shadows. I saw his eyes, red as blood, ravenous as death itself. My hand trembled, but the stake held firm. I was a slayer of vampires from Belgrade in the night when my city teetered on oblivion's edge. Morning was silent, but its stillness lied. The fire crackled faintly in my hut's hearth. My footsteps thudded on the muddy path as faint murmurs of villagers drifted from afar. Church bells tolled through the fog, heavy with warning. The scent of damp grass mingled with acrid smoke from Ottoman camps across the Danube. Belgrade lay bound in fear. I, Jovan, a humble peasant with a worn plow, stood at my doorstep, watching mist coil around the city's walls like a shroud. But before I was a farmer, I had served as a scribe to the great John Hunyadi, capturing the commands of the White Knight under flickering torchlight, transcribing words that were soaked in both ink and blood. In those war camps, I learned the weight of history and the unbearable gravity of myth. We Serbs are forged in fire. Our history is a litany of resistance. From the glorious reign of Emperor Dusan the Mighty in the 14th century, when our empire stretched to the shores of the Aegean, to the fall of Prince Lazar at Kosovo Polje in 1389, where he chose a heavenly kingdom over a worldly one. Our saints became martyrs, and our martyrs, legends. We fought under crosses and crescent moons, spilled blood on hills that remembered the footsteps of both conquerors and defenders. Our land, drenched in the blood of martyrs and warriors, was fertile soil for tales of darkness. War did not just kill men, it stirred the sleeping evils in the earth. It is said that when too much blood is spilled, the soil wakes old spirits. They spoke of vampires, not the pale aristocrats of foreign lands, but creatures born from our own sins and superstitions. Serbian vampires are not romantic fiends. They are bloated with blood, sometimes invisible, often savage, and they come from improper death. If a man dies unbaptized or buried without ritual, or if he was a great sinner, his soul lingers, hungry. Petar Blagojevic, his name still terrifies the villagers of Kisiljevo. He died, and days later, his family began to die, one by one. Each on their deathbed swore he had come to them at night. When the grave was opened, they found his body undecayed, lips red with fresh blood. They staked him through the heart. He shrieked. Blood gushed. The dead should not bleed. And there was Sava Savanovic, the miller of Zarozhe. The watermill still stands. His story is older than ink, passed by whispered word. He drank the blood of millers, killed travelers, and was said to transform into mist. His name is not written in church records, but in the fear that clings to walls. And then came the Vukodlak. To outsiders, it means werewolf, but to us, it means more. It is not just a beast who walks on four limbs. It is a cursed soul, a man twisted by fate and moonlight. They say Vukodlaki are born during a lunar eclipse, or from a woman who eats meat before sunrise while pregnant. Some say they wear a wolf pelt and become monsters. Others, that the curse is in the blood, and that even in human form their eyes glow red in the dark. And worse still, if a Vukodlak dies unshriven, he becomes a vampire. Belgrade burned with fever. The sky bled crimson above our ramparts. Ottoman banners snapped in the wind like whips. red flags emblazoned with crescent moons. The conqueror Mehmed, the breaker of Constantinople, had come for us. His soldiers stretched from the Danube to the Sava, and his cannons growled like dragons. But we Serbs had known worse. Under Hunyadi and the cross-bearing monk John of Capistrano, we stood. We peasants became warriors. We dragged stones, filled moats, braced walls. My hands, once used for quills, now hauled timber and sharpened spears. Yet behind the clash of steel was another dread. At dawn, the bodies of guards were found cold and pale, lips blue, eyes wide. No wound, no cry. The priest said it was the plague. The villagers whispered another word: vampire. They burned straw men at crossroads, drew salt crosses on thresholds, buried the dead with their heads turned backward and mouths stuffed with soil. In those days of fire and ash, I worked with fury and fear. The woods around Belgrade grew darker. Elders said the trees themselves had turned against us. I heard wolves howl even in sunlight. But it was not just wolves. The Vukadlak returned. The shapeshifter, the devourer. In one village, cattle were found ripped open, entrails missing, eyes gouged. Tracks led to nowhere. They called the old soldier Gavrilo a beast, said he wore a cursed belt made of human skin. One night, they caught him half-shifted. They burned him alive. I began to dream strange things, of vile, woodland spirits, beautiful and cruel, dancing on the banks of the Danube. They whispered my name. Their hair was gold, but their eyes were black pits. I saw the Drekavac too. It appeared as a child with glowing teeth, screaming from within the trees. My bones froze. That was no dream. I began carrying a stake carved from hawthorn, its shaft marked with runes I copied from an old monk's codex. Around my neck, an iron cross wrapped in lamb's wool. And then I saw him, the pale man in the woods. He was real. Vlad Tepes, the Impaler. I met men who fought with him. He drank from silver goblets while forests of corpses swayed outside his castle. They say the stench of his battlegrounds choked birds in flight. He was not a man. He was something else. Son of the Dragon, Order of Dracula. He signed letters with a sigil that twisted like serpents. The Ottomans feared him more than death. They said he was born of a witch and a wolf, that the stars dimmed the night he was born. Some claimed he bathed in blood to keep young, and that the devil himself walked beside him. The villagers believed his curse had crossed the Carpathians and entered our lands. That night the storm cracked the sky. I walked into it like a man possessed. I followed the trail of the Pale One, muddy, half visible. The forest bent away. Birds did not sing. The old watermill creaked in windless air. He stood within, surrounded by candles, circles of ash. He looked at me not with hate, but sorrow. "You came," he said. I held the stake. "You do not know what I am." He stepped closer. No fangs, just grief. My mind screamed to stop. My arm obeyed fear. I drove the stake through his heart. He screamed, not in rage, but in agony. Then silence. His blood was red. His tears were real. I dropped to my knees. I had killed a man. Or had I? The city held. Hunyadi drove them back. The bells rang. The people wept. But I could not rejoice. I wandered the ruins, haunted by eyes in the dark. I dreamed of the man I killed. Every night he stood by the Danube, whispering my name. I stood where the river met the sky. The stake in my hand felt heavier than before. I cast it into the current, hoping to cast away the burden with it. But the weight did not leave me. It only sank deeper. The law is clear in these lands. There is no pardon for those who kill outside the will of the church or the council. If word spread of what I had done, that I murdered a man in cold blood claiming he was a vampire, I would be seized, perhaps not even judged. They'd drag me to the gallows in Kalamagdan, where traitors and killers swing in the wind. Or worse, branded mad and shackled, cast into the monastery's underground vaults with other broken minds, fed only broth and scripture. I sleep lightly now, for every knock on the door could be the village guards. Every glance from the priest could carry suspicion. My children watch me with quiet unease. I hear whispers behind walls. Perhaps it's my guilt. Perhaps it's justice stirring slowly. I feared the vampire, but now I fear myself for what I became, for what I might have done. Was it holy wrath that guided my hand, or madness dressed in righteousness? The Danube whispered beneath the stars, its surface swallowing the moonlight and the sins of men. The stake drifted into the void, but its echo haunted me. The woods still sing the old songs. The wind still carries the cries of things long buried. I walk among the living, but I do not belong to them. Belgrade endures. The fortress still stands. The bells still ring, but I no longer rejoice in their sound. In this twilight between war and peace, between faith and fear, I remain haunted. The wind still sighs. The woods still whisper. The viols still dance when men look away. The Drekavac still wails in the dark. The Vukadlak walks beneath the moon. And the vampire waits for the next war. Darkness devoured Belgrade, and with it, my heart.